people who are in positions of institutional authority and have been in those positions for, particularly if they've been there for a long time, and particularly if they have benefited directly and personally from the systemic reality as it has been in place for so long, they fundamentally should not be assumed to want to change it. Colleges and universities in this country, for the most part, especially if they are HWCUs, which I know we don't actually use that acronym, that's the point. Right? If they're historically white colleges, by definition, they were set up, and that's also about normative white privilege, right? That they were set up for the education of white people. And that's why they're there. Now, I don't expect that those institutions, I gotta be straight with you, I don't think that those institutions are ever gonna be about real equity and justice, because that's not what they're, it's like expecting a hot dog factory to turn out something that's not a hot dog. Like if you're at the end of the conveyor belt of a hot dog factory and you're like, damn, when are the chicken nuggets coming? Right? You're always gonna be frustrated because that's a damn hot dog factory. They're not gonna give you chicken nuggets, that's the chicken nugget factory. You gotta go there and don't look for hot dogs when you go. It's very important for administrators to know that, that they are nonetheless part of a system that is predicated and has always been predicated on fundamentally perpetuating injustice and inequity. If they want to change that, they're welcome to join that struggle, but they need to understand what that means. And we need to craft a narrative that says very clearly and plainly that what that means is really fundamentally restructuring a lot of the things that we just take for granted in colleges and universities. Because there are a lot of white folks out there, for instance, there are a lot of straight folks out there are a lot of men out there who actually sort of know that they ought to be allies, like they want to do the right thing, but it's almost like our culture doesn't give them permission to do the right thing. It's like, in fact, our culture encourages to do the wrong thing. Our culture just encourages men to just stay with their boys and act like fools around women, and to do, or really, especially around themselves when women aren't in the room, and then act like that's okay. And I'm supposed to ratify that when, you know, a guy friend says something ridiculously sexist and offensive, and I'm supposed to just laugh at that, or I'm supposed to go along with it. And so a lot of guys in that little circle right there when that crap is happening, or a lot of straight folks in that circle when all kinds of homophobic stuff is being thrown around, or a lot of white folks in that circle, that classroom, that fraternity, that residence hall, lounge, or whatever, when racist stuff is being said, like, there's part of them that hears that and they want to say something, and they ought to say something, but they have never even been given the sense that they either have a role to say something, or like, what the hell would they say if they did say something? So I feel like, in a way, part of this, the only part that makes, I think, my presence or any other speaker's presence, or frankly, even the scholars who talk about this in the classroom's presence, important, is that occasionally learning happens. And that's, after all, the purpose of education. And occasionally that learning can inspire action.